obviously a big storyline in the game yesterday was Ilya Samsonov going down. Such a volatile position, man. It's just so unfortunate. These guys are banged up, dinged up throughout the season. It's been a thing in Leafs land for X amount of years around the league. Like, we're at a point where we need a goaltending summit. I've been saying this for a while, but who starts game 4? Matt Murray suddenly emerges as the E-bug yesterday, and they said he's good to go, man. So Joe Woll comes in. I didn't think he was particularly bad. I wasn't crazy about the OT winner. I'm never crazy about wraparound goals, but it's not a game that I'm pinning on the net mining by any stretch, man. Like, they didn't show up. Imagine having that team in front of you coming in cold on a power play, mind you, in the second period, and like he battled. But who would you start for game 4?
It's tough. I honestly don't know. I mean, if you, I'm leaning towards Joseph Woll. I still have hope that Samsonov could play. You know, you wake up and all of a sudden it's like, hey, it's actually moving. You get your MRI and it's like there's nothing torn. I don't even know what the hell he hurt, but say that's out the window. Murray or Woll. I mean, Woll's probably your future. You give him some experience. Murray, I mean, he could go in there and play quite well like he did at the beginning of the season. He's got that experience and whatnot, but I mean, what's that worth at this point in time? I don't know. He could go in there and get absolutely shelled as well. So I think they'll probably lean towards Joseph Woll just because he's played more in recent times, and they're probably going to move forward with the franchise with him being part of it. But very difficult. I think Sammy was kind of battling through some things. I'm not going to say hanging on by a thread, but you could tell that, you know, he was kind of used and abused down the stretch there. And, you know, to have him come out of there was just the icing on the cake of how that game was going for sure. And I guess my best guess is that they're going to go ahead with Woll. Probably a consideration for Murray, but I don't think he's in the long-term plans of this franchise. And for that reason, in the position that they're in, I imagine they'll see what Joseph Woll can do. And if he can catch fire and, you know, his pedigree and talent level, if it can rise up and shut the door and they get 2 wins and stuff, and then all of a sudden it's like, hey, let's just change our mentality. This is a 3-2 series and, you know, we got to do what we got to do. And maybe you do what the Kings did in 2014. I remember when they were down 3-rip, I was in the league and they came back and won it and then won the whole goddamn shebang. So it's not like it's impossible. This team is better than they're showing. And I mean, they're hanging on by a thread right now, but there's still a glimmer of hope. So we'll see what direction they go.
This will probably be an unpopular opinion, and I love Joseph Woll. But at this point, I don't think either of these guys, Sheldon Keefe or Kyle Dubas, should be looking at the future, man. Like, there's a lot of decisions to be made. Assuming that they don't come back here, it's going to be difficult. You mentioned it earlier on, a miracle. But it does happen. I mean, it's important to bring that up. It does happen where teams have come back from 0-3. But assuming all that, you can't be the future. I totally agree with you. Joseph Woll, I'm ready to anoint this guy as a bona fide NHL goalie next year. I think he should be in the tandem. But this is the hill that they're willing to die on. You know, to quote the lockout quote from a couple of years back. So with that in mind, Matt Murray was your guy. You pinpointed him as your number 1 guy in the offseason, last offseason. So why not double down at this point in time? Why not go all in on Matt Murray? And if it works, it works. If it doesn't, it doesn't. Like, I think jobs are on the line right now. And that's why I think if they stuck their necks out for this guy, he had the pedigree. Granted, he's been hurt, hasn't played in a while. But why not? Like, what's the difference at this point?